ಏನಾಯ್ತು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
Everyone, I hope everyone is doing very well. Welcome to the session. कैसे हैं आप? I mean to say, how are you guys? Hope everyone is doing really well. Good morning everyone. Good morning. Today we have some really wonderful news in the terms Donald Trump is taking over today, and we'll have to cover a plethora of news, and we are also covering what happened in 2024 in the terms of foreign policy in the country. We would be covering that. So a lot of news is there for today. So I'll move forward. Just a sec, guys. I think my slide has gone. Okay, now it is there. So we'll have to wait for a bit of time before it gets uploaded. I think there was a problem in that. So it will be getting uploaded. You tell me, so how was your weekend? How much did you practice for your PYQs, MCQs, and the mains answer writing? Are you doing that? Prelims are approaching now. So once the prelims start approaching, the pressure starts building for the examination. So I hope you are going through your questions and most importantly revision. Because the problem with an aspirant is that he focuses a lot on completing the syllabus, but whatever subject he has completed earlier, the revision is very less on that particular part. So I hope that you are working on that particular part. And what are your thoughts on also on the Donald Trump presidency coming? Please let me know. What do you think that what he would be doing on his first day? Today he would be taking over 20th of January, 10:30 p.m. IST. That's the time you can live stream or you can watch him also, because that time it would be live in India IST timings. That what would be happening at that particular point of time, what he would be saying. Okay, so moving towards 20th Jan to 2025 news. Before I move, OGP 2026 is starting. The second batch, it is starting on 6th February 2025. On 6th February 2025. For all the details, you can also scan this QR code. And in this batch, we would be covering GS, CSAT and SA. Apart from that, this course is indeed designed under the guidance of Vinay Sir, who is the founder and director of Insights IAS. And this would be holistically covering your entire UPSC preparation. So from Nadir to Zenith, this is the best batch for you to cross over the UPSC examination, join the coveted services. Thought for the day is, never regret a day in your life. Good days give you happiness and bad days give you experience. Obviously, we all like good days when we achieve success or when something good happens. But when something bad happens or something we are not able to achieve or something failure happens, that is the time we need to realize what are the reasons for this, and it will give you an experience and it will make sure, it makes your thick, your skin even thick to take, when the challenges come, when the failure comes, and it will eventually really help you. So in this context, success and failures, they should be taken and accepted as same. Sometimes you will get success, sometimes you will get failures, and failures will only teach you where you are lacking. Sometimes you will have bad experiences which can happen in life, it can happen in exam or anywhere else. So those experiences need to be accepted and life needs to move on. Okay. So with this, let's move towards the important news for today. So first important news is Trump agendas. What would be Trump's agendas? That means on day one, today he is taking over, so I am covering 9 important areas where Trump would be focusing on. Why we are focusing on Donald Trump? Because, geopolitically after he won the election, and what we saw in November, he won the election. Geopolitically, the world is changing. Europe is changing. NATO is changing. Chinese also need to change their strategy because tariffs are coming. And most importantly, when it comes to Donald Trump, every morning he'll give you a new statement. He has given statement on Greenland, on Canada. Trudeau is gone. So a lot of changes are happening. And for that matter, truce and ceasefire has also happened between Israel and Hamas. So, what he says today and what he does today and in the coming 10-20 days will be changing international geopolitics, and we would be covering that immensely in the Daily Decode. Nothing will be, you will not be, any news which is related to this will definitely be covered. So we would be covering this entirely. Modi-Trump meet on Jaishankar's 5 points agenda. Jaishankar has 5-point agenda. Jaishankar would be part of the swearing in ceremony of elected Donald Trump president. 9 navies hold joint drills in strategic straits. So this is Lepuru multi-navy exercise. Multiple navies across the world are participating. It is headed by French Navy. Top 10 global military powers in 2025, India and Pakistan stand. So which are the top 10 global military powers which, bought a lot of weapons and their standing is the highest. It is still by the Americans is ruling it. So we'll talk about why America still is the topmost global military power. In editorial, we'll talk about India's foreign policy in 2024. Many success and a few hiccups. This is a very good understanding what happened in 2024 and what we can expect in 2025. UPSC prelim impact, we'll talk about multilateral exercise, Lepuru. Okay. So moving towards the first important news for today, that is Trump top agendas day one. Obviously, there can be many other agendas. We have taken the top 9 agendas on day one. So first important agenda which he is continuously talking about, end the war in Ukraine. For that matter, he has always maintained that on day one he will end the war in Ukraine. He has continuously given these statements. He is speaking to Vladimir Putin. He is speaking to Zelensky. So this would be on his number 1 agenda. So we would be waiting what he gives the statement. When it comes to Israel-Hamas ceasefire, even before his presidency, which would be starting today, he had given the statement that if the hostages are not returned back, hell will come towards Hamas. And eventually you see on 19th yesterday, the from both sides hostages, Palestinian hostages and Israeli hostages were being released. Just imagine it is happening one day before the presidency of Donald Trump starting. So that is the leverage and that is the kind of supremacy Donald Trump and his presidency which is coming is trying to show it to the world. Next is end birthright citizenship. So in US, if you are born, you get the citizenship. So Donald Trump wants to change it. He wants to change that on my first day in office, I will sign an order clarifying that future children of illegal aliens will not automatically receive US citizenship, but this will not be easy, because even if he passes a resolution on this, since he's got the majority in House of Representatives and Senate, then even the states needs to pass it. So he just signing the orders will not help. There would be a lot of legal processes later. Next is, we know what he feels about transgender rights. So I will keep men out of women's sports 100% immediately first day. This is basically about that Olympics, what has happened, you know, a male was participating in the female, if you remember that controversy. Later biologically it shows that he has some strands of male in him. So this is basically news coming from that. He said if it's a female sports, only female would be participating in it. Next is mass deportation. This is one of the favorites of Donald Trump, that the deportation, he would be doing all these illegal migrants which is coming from Mexico, it would be deported. Now this is easier said than done, because this would require a huge amount of logistic effort from the Americans. So on day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in the American history to get criminals out. If he is able to succeed in this, this would be, standing a, it would be a benchmark, but this will not be easy. And this might also strain the relationship between Mexico and the America. Already the relationship between the Donald Trump and the Mexico head is not good. This will only, this will only move towards not a great relationship. Let's see. Next is implement tariffs. I think this one we have all known. He wakes up in the morning, he said 25% tariffs on Canada, or around 66% till 66% tariff on China, many other countries. He had also said that if BRICS go for de-dollarization, he would be putting 100% tariffs. Tariffs and tax is also one of the things which India also needs to be aware when it is talking to Donald Trump. So let's see what happens there. So 25% tariff on all products from Mexico and Canada, and addressing open borders. This is something which we need to hear. Next is deregulation industry. I will sign an order directing all federal agencies to immediately remove burdens. So obviously he has created this ministry DOGE, that is Department of Government Efficiency, and Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk are heading it, and they would be cutting all those government expenditures and government employees which are burden on the Americans. And the Argentinian head, he is one of the inspiration behind it, and he would be part of this the Donald Trump swearing in, and that was the last news which came in. And most importantly, this DOGE is related to this, that regulations, unnecessary regulation, unnecessary government expenditure would be removed, which will reduce the deficit of the American government. Next is, he said that the electric vehicle mandate would be removed. So he is saying under the EPA, which came under the Joe Biden presidency, the rule would be required 2/3 of the cars in the United States to be electric by 2032. So he is against it. He said this electric mandate would be removed. That was done by Joe Biden, that 2/3 of the cars in the America should be EVs. So he would be scrapping this. And the next is, pardon January 6 defendants. So if you remember, on January 6, 2021, the US Capitol attack had happened, and the Democrats, as per the Democrats, they had put all these people who had done this attack behind the bars, or put the cases against them. So he would be saying that they would be getting pardon from him. Next important is the ending gender affirming care. So this is related to transgender and non-binary people. If you go through the current thought process of Republicans, they do not believe in this non-binary, because people, for example, there's male, female, transgender, but if you go into the gender affirmations, in the America and the Europe, there are multiple coming, like for example, male, female, and lot of complications are there. I will not be getting into this. So the Republicans believe that either you are a male, either you are a female, or you are a transgender. These are the three things they basically believe. If you are identifying something else, more or less Republicans do not believe in that. So what they are planning to do is that so gender affirming is the range of services that help transgender and non-binary people live in their authentic gender. So whatever they want to identify, they can identify as per the Americans, and they would be getting medical, surgical, and mental health and other services. So Donald Trump on day one might cancel all these gender affirming services which might have been given by Joe Biden. If you remember, this was one of the most important vote bank which was being counted by Democrats at that point of time, but eventually, even if they are given the vote, they could not defeat the Donald Trump. So these might be 9 important agendas which would be on the cards of Donald Trump. Apart from that, there would be many other things which would be done, but this is specifically from the American point of view. TikTok has already been banned, so I think yesterday it got the TikTok being banned. Now how Donald Trump will take it? Donald Trump, Elon Musk is also interested in buying this, and there would be some other person. There's one more person who was interested in buying TikTok. Let's see who eventually buys TikTok, because so America is interested in only buying the TikTok US, not the Chinese operation, because they feel the data of the Americans is very important. So TikTok will also come in the news. Let's see eventually what will happen. So these are some of the top agendas under the Donald Trump. Now moving to the next important news. This is related to Modi Trump meet on Jaishankar's 5-point agenda, and so this is Jaishankar's 5 agenda. Jaishankar would be the part of the swearing in ceremony. So he spoken about 5 important agendas which would be on his cards. Since he would be in America, obviously he would be meeting Donald Trump or the team around it, and these are the agendas. So External Affairs Minister Jaishankar outlined 5-point agenda ahead of Washington visit, which coincides with US President inauguration also. So he was invited for this. We had covered this in Daily Decodes. So a potential turning point for the global order in terms of trade, in terms of immigration and strategic partnership. If I talk about strategic partnership between India and America, that would be strengthened. There is no doubt about it. The problem which we might have with the America would be around trade. So Quad would be definitely strengthened in the coming presidency of Donald Trump, and there is no doubt about it. So goal set the tone for India's engagement with the new administration. Early Modi-Trump meeting. This is a lot on the card that Modi and Trump meeting happens. So either the meeting can happen in Paris where the AI summit is happening, so Donald Trump and Modi can meet at that point of time, or either the Quad summit which would be happening in India. So India should have done the Quad summit in 2024, but it said that we would be doing in 2025. So in this year when the Quad summit comes, so Donald Trump would be expected, and then the Donald Trump and the Prime Minister Modi can meet. So these are the 2 areas or 2 particular points where they can meet. Next is focus, navigate Trump inward focused foreign policy and its departure from rule-based global order. Obviously, he is talking about MAGA campaign. He spoke about MAGA making America great again. He's also talking about get all those manufacturing which was given to China, those manufacturing should come back to America. So he's moving away from that rule-based order. He's also moving away from, that he'll be using a lot of taxes. Basically, in rule-based order, in globalization, you don't put taxes. For example, if America starts putting taxes on the other countries will start putting taxes on America. And this way, this would be, disharmonizing the rules-based order of trade, and this would be hitting against globalization. Okay, so in this context, how India would be moving with America would be something which would be interesting to watch. Okay, Quad summit scheduling I've already told, so this would be happening. So countering regional challenges, especially in the Indo-Pacific, and when we talk about Indo-Pacific, the focus is China. There is no doubt about it. China is rising. China is the largest navy in the world, at least in terms of the vessels it has. But when it comes to technology, prowess, power, they at least for now, they cannot match the Americans. And we would be covering a news when we will talk about global military, and the Americans are still number 1. Okay. So Quad foreign ministers are attending Trump's inauguration, providing an opportunity for coordination. So that would be your Australia, Japan, India. They would be there. They would be talking about it. And obviously, behind the cameras, behind the doors, there would be a lot of meetings, how the presidency is coming, and the Trump presidency and people around the Trump and his cabinet, they would also be meeting the Indian counterparts. Appointment of US ambassador. Now Eric Garcetti, he's a Biden era ambassador to India, so obviously he would be going. A new ambassador would be coming, and that ambassador would be very important, because when it comes to Donald Trump, the ambassador to India from America would be very, very important. Okay, next would be US-China dynamics and implication for India. Now US-China relationship, either, though Donald Trump in the entire campaign, he was, against China, that he would be putting traffic, he would be putting a lot of tariffs, he was against Xi Jinping, his policies, what he's doing in Indo-Pacific, what he's doing in South China Sea. But at the same time, Donald Trump has invited him for the swearing in ceremony. That's a very different thing, that Xi Jinping might not be participating and Wang Yi, that is the foreign minister of China, or some other higher diplomat might participate. Okay. But this also shows at the same time that Donald Trump is also very smart to understand that China would be needed. So how this US-China relationship evolves in 6 months or 1 year, there would be, there would be a tight situation for India, because India is also associated with America and Chinese both. Now America is the biggest trade partner of India, and the second biggest trade partner of India is China. So both these countries are important, and China, we share a long border also. And then we have skirmishes. We had an issue of Galwan, before that Doklam, and many of our neighboring countries, you take Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, these countries are highly influenced by China. So in this context, how India would be able to maneuver between this US-China relationship is something which would be interesting to watch. Okay. Next important thing is immigration policies and Indian national. Trump proposed executive order on mass deportation and rates could affect 17,940 Indian nationals on the US final removers orders list. So this is something that the Indians which are on this list, what will happen with them? So India ranks the 4th in terms of immigration groups, following Mexico, Honduras and Guatemala, and also realize that India gets the highest number of H-1B visas. So that is the visa which the top professionals from India are going and working there. So Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are in favor of H-1B visas. Donald Trump is also in favor of H-1B visas, because he says that the top performers and the top brains of the country, of be it India or any other country, they should come and work in the America. Obviously there are many other reasons, because when Indians go and work in H-1B visas, we are generally paid less, we work a lot, and obviously we contribute to a lot to the American economy. From that point of view, they are definitely supporting it. Engagement with key advisors, that could be Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy. Now Elon Musk is very important because he looks like the left or the right hand of Donald Trump, and how Elon Musk is also interfering the Europe politics also shows that Elon Musk is a very important person, and how he uses Twitter or X for that matter. So I think the top team from India, headed by the External Affairs Minister, might be meeting him also. So Washington's visit seeks to solidify India-US amid a shifting global order. This visit will also set the basic benchmark. What is the Prime Minister Modi expecting? And meeting of External Affairs Minister with Elon Musk or Donald Trump and his team will also tell what that team is expecting from India. So it will set a basic benchmark, and when External Affairs Minister comes back to India, he would be able to tell what is Donald Trump presidency, what is Donald Trump, what is team, what is his thought process regarding India, China. So he would be telling the current Modi team and the administration out here, and when the final meeting happens between the Modi and the Donald Trump, the basic homework would be done. So this is basically continuing the efforts. Like first it was going with the Biden administration, now it will be continued with this. So emphasis on strategic partnership, immigration concerns, Quad coordination, economic cooperation and proactive approach. So obviously this is a proactive approach, because when Donald Trump won the election also, Prime Minister Modi was one of the first few people to give him a call and congratulate him, and after that External Affairs Minister was also in America last year also, around December, and he was meeting the outgoing Biden presidency people and the incoming one. So this is a very proactive approach. This we have seen in Sri Lankan election also. Anura Dissanayake is the current president of Sri Lanka, but before he became the president, the External Affairs Minister and NSA had met him earlier. Now let's coming to UPSC mains question. Discuss the potential impact of coming US presidencies inward focus foreign policy on India's strategic and economic interests. I've added some points, I've covered this news, and Donald Trump, the first whose news were related to him only. So you can go through the answer structure and make it. Now next is 9 navies hold joint drills in strategic states between Indian Ocean and the Pacific. Now these strategic states are very important. Which are these strategic states? This is your Strait of Malacca, Sunda Strait and Lombok Strait. So if you see, this is basically around the Indonesia area, very important location, and this Le Peru exercise is happening here, and 9 Indo-Pacific navies, which including India, France, US are participating in the multilateral exercise Le Peru, hosted by France. So France is heading this, and just imagine, when is this exercise starting? We are talking about the same time around Donald Trump presidency. So the world is showing where world is moving in terms of Donald Trump, and I think it would be a bit of tough days for China to put its hegemony, because the Israel-Hamas war is coming to an end and Russia-Ukraine war will soon come to an end in the coming 2 to 3 months. When these wars are coming to an end, the entire focus would be towards China and China's strategic goals, and it would be very tough for China, because this time the Donald Trump has huge amount of support. He's got Congress, he's got Senate, he's got House of Representatives. At both the places he's got majority, whatever bill he wants, and this time he's also got one of the richest person on earth on his side, that is Elon Musk. So tough days would be ahead for China. Let's see what exactly will happen. So this exercise is happening right now. So I've given you some important locations also in this. So this is your Strait of Malacca. Okay, so you see Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore out here. This is your Sunda Strait, and this is your Lombok Strait. Okay, so these are the three important states. So Lombok. So they are asked in UPSC examination also, the exercises are at focus. So if you remember, if you block this, so around 80 to 85% of trade of China passes through this, and this is also called Malacca dilemma. Okay, and that is why your Chinese came up with the idea of BRI. Okay, earlier it was OROB. Okay, one road, one belt. Okay, then it was changed to BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. CPEC is also one of the part of it, creating those Gwadar port there, and the trade would be moving through Pakistan, which we already know 30 to 35 billion dollars around this amount of money has already been invested into Gwadar. Neither the principal amount, neither the interest has been able to come out, and currently the Gwadar port is still a very flop show, which is being attacked by Balochistanis and Tehrik-e-Taliban terrorist also. So not great days ahead. So if you block this area also, then obviously the trade to Chinese will be stopped. That is why these points are very important. That is Strait of Malacca, Lombok Strait and Sunda Strait. Very favorite of UPSC, keep asking that which is this Lombok Strait would be dividing which two islands. So if you see, Sunda Strait would be dividing which two ones. So Sumatra is there and Java is there. So very important, please go through it in your atlas and definitely mark them. So choke points for global trade. So Malacca Strait, Sunda and Lombok Strait, severely critical and exit points. So if they are important for China, similarly they are also important for ASEAN trade. And that is why a lot of focus in the coming 4 years for America, Europe and India would be on this Indo-Pacific region and South China Sea region, because as the Chinese Navy is expanding, Chinese fighter jets are expanding, warships are expanding, they would try to put a lot of navy in India. They are already created artificial islands in this area, claiming this exclusive economic EZ, exclusive economic zone EZ, and plus the rare earth minerals which you find in this area. So to counter these Chinese intention and this aggression, these multilateral exercises would be very important. So Chinese naval activity in the region, they are ramming the Philippines Philippines boats and Philippines Coast Guard on everyday basis, that too inside the exclusive economic zone of Philippines. So to help this country, it is very important. So if you remember, we have got Quad, then we've also got a group called Squad. So in that, if you replace India with Philippines, you get that. Then is Indian Navy's participation. Indian Navy has sent guided missile destroyer INS Mumbai to participate in the exercise. And I would also like to add that Indonesia has also shown its interest in BrahMos, and the Indonesia's head would be participating in the Republic Day. I think around that time the deal can be finalized. Philippines has also got the BrahMos, so we are also giving our supersonic missiles to them, which can counter the Chinese. So exercise is led by French Carrier Strike Group CSG, which is with the carrier Charles Lee de Gaulle at its helm. Core objective, Le Peru, enhancing maritime safety is central to the drills. Multilateral collaboration, obviously this is the focus of the exercise. Risk and challenges, apart from the challenges of China, the focus would be on the human induced challenges also, like drug trafficking, environmental challenges, accidents, illegal immigration, weapons trafficking, and a lot of drug trafficking which happens not only from the Golden Crescent and Golden Triangle but also from the Colombian, the South American side. That would also be focused. Recently Interpol and many other countries, around 50 or 60 countries, were able to get over these submersible submarines which were being used for more than $1 billion of drugs. It was caught by these multilateral countries which came through with the help of Interpol, and that operation was successfully done. So in terms of drug trafficking, very important. Vulnerability to earthquakes and tsunami, obviously in this area Indo-Pacific, earthquakes and tsunami are there. So from a point of view of HADR operations, humanitarian and humanitarian assistance operations, again important. So exercise include Australia, Canada, France, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, UK and the US. So UK is there, US is there, India, Indonesia. Focus, see the focus area. Where is this? The Donald Trump presidency is coming. You know where it is this getting focus. The use of IORIS, that is Indo-Pacific Regional Information Sharing System, would also be used. So it has a secure online system that allows for maritime communication coordination. The system IORIS is very important. If a war happens tomorrow, or if the Quad is fighting against the Chinese, these kind of online system to coordinate and do an operation would be very important. You can just, very simple way, this is like a WhatsApp for, WhatsApp, which is only working for these 3-4 navies. Only they can. It's an encrypted technology. Only 4 of these nations can, the militaries can coordinate and do their information. It's like sharing of information. So just giving a WhatsApp for this particular navy. Okay, just to make you understand. Okay. So it signifies growing maritime collaboration without any doubt, and it will also show interoperability, understanding from each other, risk mitigation and maritime security. So let's move towards the question. La Peru exercise is conducted annually. No, it is not conducted annually. There is nothing annually. IORIS is a coordination system used for effective maritime crisis management. Correct. France leads the La Peru exercises with its carrier Charles de Gaulle. Correct. So 2 and 3 are correct. B is the correct answer to this question. Next is, next important news would be top 10 global military powers in 2025. Where do India and Pakistan stand? So not a great news for Pakistan though. Pakistan used to be in top 10 around, I think 7th or 8th, but it has come down. What are the major reasons? Because today it is not able to majorly make its own weapons. Indigenization is not happening. And see, I think there's a quote of Chanakya that your army would be as strong as your economy. Okay, your army or your security forces are as strong as your economy. This was said by Chanakya. So if your economy is not strong, your army can also not be strong. That is a very simple case for Pakistan. Now it is even planning to buy the 50 ships from China. That would also be taken from loan. They are also planning to get J-35 fifth generation fighters. That is also from China. They are planning to take again on loan. So they are not building anything. And apart from that, they had the snake of Taliban. Today that snake is the only one which is killing the Pakistanis. So Afghan Taliban and Tehrik-e-Taliban and Balochistan army are rupturing and brutally killing the Pakistani army. So not great things are happening with the Pakistani economy and Pakistani army. In the context of it, it has come down. It has reached to the rank of around, it is on the current rank of 12. India is currently on 4th. A lot of indigenization is happening. We are making our own weapons. We are selling also our weapons, like BrahMos being sold to Philippines. Then Indonesia also, the deal should finalize in some days. And Indonesia has also shown interest in other helicopters and other things. So before I move forward on to that, top 10 global military powers in 2025. So 2025 witnessed over 60 armed conflicts, the highest ever recorded. And this is witnessed 60 armed conflicts, the highest ever recorded, with civilian fatalities increasing by 30% from 2023 to 2024. The reason behind this is, when you are talking about 2025, this basically talks about taking the data of 2024. Okay, so the Russia-Ukraine war started in February 2022. Israel-Hamas war started in October 2023. So 2024, obviously, would be expecting the number of people which would be killed would be higher, only because both the escalation increased. Now Israel-Hamas, from Israel-Hamas it increased to Israel-Hezbollah, Israel-Houthi and Israel-Iran in 2024. So escalation all over the world was very high in 2024. I think 2025 would be the year where it should come down, I mean to say, in terms of escalation. But for the buying of defense weapons, I think that would still increase, because the trust among the countries over each other is very less. Okay, so driven by tension Middle East, North Africa and Eastern Europe. Global military expenditure reached a staggering $2.4 trillion in 2023. So this is 2023 to 2024. In 2024 to 2025, this number should increase, because number of spending on buying weapons even increased further. So this is the number of 2023, $2.4 trillion. And among this $2.4 trillion, 700 to 800 billion. That would be amounting more, I mean to say, not in the terms of money, but majority of this spending was done by the Americans only. Okay. So reflecting nations' economic ambition and strategic needs, warfare emerged as the most significant threat to global stability overshadowing peace initiative. Hardly there was any peace initiative. The Israel-Hamas was going on, Hezbollah came, Iran came, Houthis came, entire Middle East was burning, Russia, Ukraine, a lot of support to Ukraine came from the Germans, the Americans and the UK. A lot of funds and money, $1 billion was invested in terms of weapons and aid, and eventually the fighting from Russia, Ukraine increased, and that is why huge amount of spending. North Koreans, South Koreans, they also got new weapons. Japan was also interested in new weapons, and that is why we got this number of $2.4 trillion in 2023. In 2024 to 2025, this number should be much more than this. This is my expectation. Let's see when the report comes, we'll get to know. So Global Firepower Index 2025 methodology, it evaluates 145 countries using over 60 factors. Factors include manpower, military budgets, industry capacity and geographical advantages. So 145 countries ranking was done on 60 factors. Some of the major ones were manpower, military budgets, then military complexes also, and geographical advantage. So lower scores integrate greater military strength. So a score of 0 would be a perfect score. So number one country in this is again the Americans. So United States of America is number one. Russia and China are at second and third. India has come to fourth. Fifth is South Korea. Now South Korea has a lot of threat from North Korea. That is why the spending and increase in the defense budget is happening. America has maintained this hegemony. Even if China has the biggest naval vessels, it doesn't matter. It's the quality of that vessels. It also the quality of number of, when America does a theater command, it captures the entire world. China's theater command is still on the Chinese borders mainly. For that matter, even Russian theater commands is on the Russian borders only. But when you talk about American theater commands, it's all over the globe. That how big is the Americans and the amount of expenditure they are doing on their army. It's huge. Okay, if I'm correct, they have around 11 theater commands, 11 to 13. So then sixth is United Kingdom. Then you've got France. Then you've got Japan. Again, I told you Japan is spending because of the threat from the Russians also and North Koreans also, and China. Turkey is there and Italy is there. Now Italy under Meloni has entered this, and there was a picture I saw that the most in the current world, the majority of the top leaders are from the right of the center. So it would be interesting to see that how these leaders will be shaping the world in coming 4 or 5 years. So let's see what will eventually happen. So this is the ranking. India is ranked 4th globally with a score of 0.1184. Modernization and manpower is increasing. Recently, we covered the news of INS Surat, Nilgiri and INS Vakshir. Navy indigenization is happening. We had also done the news of hypersonic weapons, MIRV weapons. So overall, lot of indigenization technology, anti-satellite weapons, mission Shakti. On defense and security, you are moving with a plethora of great speed. The technology where we might be lacking is the fighter jets, which we need to work upon. So we are the 4th largest defense spender globally in 2023. Defense spending increased by 4.2% from 2022. Focus on improving operational readiness and acquiring advanced technology. So India has been ranked as the 4th most powerful in terms of military power in the world in the Global Firepower Index 2025. So Global Firepower Index 2025, but when I'm talking about spending on the weapons, that was from 2023 to 2024. So this is a pie chart also you can see, and manpower you can see, manpower, this is your manpower, this is your air power, this is your land power, and this is your naval power. Okay. So this is the focus of it. And moving forward into this, Pakistan position, it has come down. So whatever it is getting, the weapons are coming from China. Indigenization is low. I told you, your army is as good as your economy. This was said by Chanakya. You know what is the economy of Pakistan. Hence what you can see. Border tension with Afghanistan have strained resources. Regional stability and economic difficulties negatively impact overall military strength. This is happening in terms of what is happening on the Afghan and the Durand line and the Balochistanis, which are killing and butchering the Pakistani army. So strategic takeaways: United States still the global dominance with advanced industrial output and extensive manpower. Russia and China maintains their second and third position. They are expanding. So even though Russia, a lot of weapons were used, and we expected that Russia would be able to defeat the Ukraine in 20, 30 days or 1 month, 2 months. They were not have been able to do. So there is still a dent on their image, but still they maintain their top, leveraging strategic alliances, and now they have no friendship, no limits friendship also. India's rising power in the military capability, there is no doubt about it. So Pakistan dependent on Chinese support, and geopolitical challenges limits is rank and rising, and also the issue of indigenization. Okay, so let's come to a question. Power index scores measures a nation's military strength, where a higher score indicates a stronger capability, not a higher score, lower score. India is the fourth most powerful country globally in terms of military strength in 2025, correct? The Global Firepower Index evaluates country based on over 60 factors, including manpower, industry capacity, correct? So second and third are correct. The answer to this question is B. Okay, so before I move forward, so APIC batch, this is specifically for your prelims. This is for your prelims. The batch 2 is starting on 20th January 2025. And if you see, we've got top teachers from the country: Manjunath sir, Ashish sir, Sudeep sir for geography, Aditya sir for economy, Manjunath sir for economy, Manjunath sir for polity. So multiple faculties are there. For an art and culture, Umesh sir is also there. All faculties are there, which would be covering your APIC batch, which includes GS, CSAT. For all details, you can scan the QR code or call on the number 80 69 40 52 and 05, which will help you to take admissions in this. Now moving to the next important news, that is the editorial. A top class editorial has come, and this is India's foreign policy in 2024. Many successes, a few hiccups. So this is written by Ashok sir, and this I have taken from Chanakya Forum, not from Hindu. As you know that Hindu doesn't cover so much of these news. So taken today two important news. One has been taken, that global firepower I have taken from Indian Express. The first news which was there, in which I had shown you those images, that was taken from First Post. Okay, so not only covering Hindu but also from other newspapers. So many of these news which you will not at all find in the Hindu, it's not covering them. So that is why multiple news have been covered from different sources. Now coming to this, and this kind of depth in the article is not there in the Hindu, there is no doubt about it. Okay, so once we'll go through this editorial, get to know that how much in the depth this is written. So India's foreign policy in 2024, many success, a few hiccups, global context. So 2024 again was unexpected in many terms, in terms of Israel-Hamas continuing, Russia continuing, that we were expecting, but we were expecting that the Russia-Ukraine war should end in 1 month or 2 months, but it started in February 2022, 2023 it continued, 2024 it continued, and it is still continuing. I hope it will come to an end sooner, probably 1 to 2 months maximum time. A lot of deal and deal breaking will be happening on that. And let's see what Ukraine would be saying, because Donald Trump's first, he used to say in his campaigns, on day 1 I will be stopping the Russia-Ukraine war. We will be going through it. So unexpected global developments, for example, the development between India and Canada, what happened in Bangladesh, and what recently happened in, that obviously happened in 2025, Trudeau resigning. So prolonged wars, this is Russia-Ukraine and Israel-Hamas war. And entering of Israel-Hamas, Iran entered, Houthis entered, and Hezbollah entered. Economic uncertainties and a rise in climate-related challenges. Multiple cyclones had come, and what we are seeing, those in wildfires in Pasadena and California, it is showing that the climate change is here and it is affecting us like anything. Over 60 countries held election, and most of the incumbent governments lost their election. This was a statement which was given by Mark Zuckerberg also, and he had given a wrong statement in terms of India. Then later he rectified it. So the incumbent government of the NDA, they were one of the only few governments which were able to save themselves in 2024. But because in majority of the governments in 2024, incumbent governments, that means who were the dispensation when the 2024 elections happened, they lost it. Okay, so dissatisfaction over existing leadership or COVID. So the global strategic and security architecture remained fluid, no clarity about the what would be the global governance. And I think after coming of Trump, we might see something new happening, which we would be covering also. So again, this drop, India navigated the complexities of economic and strategic interest. Continuation of NDA government. So since the NDA government came, so we knew what would be happening geopolitically, because the alignment continues Dr. Jay Shankar being the external affairs minister, he focused, he pushed, the progress was there. So whatever the efforts were there in 2022, continued in 2023, in 2024, more push was there, and this reflected in India-China relationship improving, and the focus of India in balancing Ukraine and also the Russian visit. So we were balancing, and India is one of the important countries which has the pivot to talk to Americans, UK, US, for that matter, Russia and Ukraine also, Israel and Palestinian also. So relation with the US and Quad, the Prime Minister attended, India attended bilateral meetings with President Joe Biden in September 2024. We participated in the 6th Quad Summit in Delaware, US. The Prime Minister, the discuss forced on enhancing cooperation in defense, technology, energy, but we had the issue with Americans in terms of Gurpant Singh Pannu, Nijjar in the Canada and Gurpant Singh Pannu in the Joe Biden presidency. These were two issues which did not work very well with India in US and Indo-Canada. So we would be working on that, and let's see what Donald Trump presidency brings. So that was Prime Minister's visit. Quad Dynamics 2024 Quad hosting duties to 2025. We should have done in 2024, but we would be doing in 2025. Flexibility and enduring commitment of Quad partners. And we have just covered the news that in the president swearing in ceremony, Donald Trump president swearing in ceremony, all the Quad foreign ministers are participating in this. So this would be, Quad would be something which in the 4 years would be strengthened. There is no doubt about it, to challenge the Chinese hegemony. Trump re-election, Donald Trump returned to power now, November 2024. India viewed Trump's victory as an opportunity, specifically his anti-Pakistan stand, anti-China stand, anti-Bangladesh stand. If you remember, he had written for Hindus and what atrocities Hindus are having in Bangladesh just before his election. Even it was from the point of view of getting the Indo-American votes, at least he wrote, because none of the earlier American presidents ever talk about it or written about it, but he did so. So let's see what eventually he puts on the ground. He is in the favor of H-1B visas also. Elon Musk is in the favor. Vivek Ramaswamy is also in the favor. So in terms of talent going from India to America, they would be definitely in favor. So there would be convergence of strategic interest between India and Trump. There would be an issue of tariffs and taxes and trade. That is one thing India and Donald Trump needs to resolve. And I've already told you, Prime Minister congratulated Trump. He was the first, one of the few ones in the, Netanyahu, Donald Trump and Mohammed bin Netanyahu, Prime Minister Modi and Mohammed bin Salman, who wished him. Annual summit in Russia. So first time since the Ukraine conflict began in 2020, Putin visited, expected in early 2025. So Prime Minister visited after, the first visit after the Ukraine war started. He got the highest award also out there, and he's got multiple awards for that matter. Even in Guyana he got. So in Putin visit is expected in 2025. Earlier the visit was expected in January 2025, but still no news has come. But it will happen because right now the focus is a lot on Donald Trump, and even Putin might be busy with the Russia-Ukraine. So I think first 10-15 days of January 20th to mid-February, when this is over, we'll get to know about it. India maintained its stance of strategic neutrality between Russia and Ukraine. We were not giving them any major plans, but we were talking about peace, and we told them that this is not an era of war. BRICS summit, again a huge BRICS summit happened in Kazan, advocated trading in national currencies, and we were against this de-dollarization. We made that very clear. External Affairs Minister has made it clear. Former Governor of RBI, Shaktikanta Das, had made it clear that we are not focusing on de-dollarization, our focus in trade in local currency, and Kazan summit was also very important for Indo-China perspective. Okay, so role as a mediator, India positioned itself as an honest broker between Russia and Ukraine. Global efforts to resolve the conflict gain momentum in Trump leadership. India's role is expected to grow in promoting dialogue, peace, and also in countering China in the Indo-Pacific. Relationship with China improved a little bit. Obviously, you cannot still trust China because at Kazan summit, the formal meeting happened between the Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping, and now the restoration of pre-2020 patrolling rights in Depsang and Demchok have started easing tension, but at the same time, the Brahmaputra issue, the dam on Brahmaputra, lower riparian state issue is there, and then they are creating counties in Aksai chain. India has raised these issues. So again, you cannot trust China. So again, this trust deficit should be there. Let's see how India approaches that in future. Voice of Global South. So VOG summit happened in 2024, third virtual summit in August, theme an empowered global south for sustainable future. As we have seen in BRICS, as we have seen in VOX, India is the topmost country taking forward the global south. Even China is that, for that matter. I've explained to you earlier also, global south does not mean geographical south. These are majority of those countries which were under imperialism, colonization, or they are LDCs, which used to be LDCs or developing countries. Now they are being headed by India, China and many other countries. So participation of 123 countries represented 60% of world's population. Focus on key outcomes of climate change, sustainable development, global economy equity. India efforts underscored fostering an inclusive, equitable and sustainable growth. Neighborhood, Sri Lanka, Anura Kumara Dissanayake came. I covered it earlier also. External Affairs Minister, NSA, had also already met him even before the election. And Sri Lanka has given the Dissanayake, when he came to India visit, first visit, after winning the election, was to India, and he said Sri Lankan territory would not be used against against Indian security. Maldives, relation improved. Mohammad Muizzu has taken a U-turn. He started with the winning the election by India Out campaign, and now coming to India, taking the line of credit, and things have improved between India and Maldives in terms of defense and regional stability. Bangladesh is an issue which we need to worry about. Around August 2024, this Sheikh Hasina had to fled. Mohammad Yunus and his interim student leaders are there, which have a very anti-India stand. This is quite visible. India is trying its all diplomatic efforts to contain Bangladesh. So it would be interesting to see what happens. High-level visit by Bhutan leadership, so strengthening continues. Outreach to ASEAN engagement, PM visit to Laos, Brunei, Singapore. I think we covered Singapore on Saturday or Friday also. Semiconductor, very important. The president of Singapore was in India. India and Singapore are celebrating 60 years of diplomatic relationship. West Asia, UAE and Qatar visit, underscoring India's energy security and regional stability. Europe, it continues. PM attendance of G7 summit in Italy. Bilateral visit to Poland and Australia boosted India-Europe trade. But in Europe, what we need to do is an FTA. Free trade agreement. If FTA is not happening, we need to find something alternatives. If you remember on Saturday, we did this an editorial on India-Europe also. In Caribbean, PM visit to Guyana, enhance its ties with Caribbean nation, and also one of the highest awards. So Guyana, many other countries, Nigeria, many other countries, the Prime Minister has visited in the last 2024. It shows focus on geopolitics, international relations and diplomacy. Hiccups in the foreign policy are Canada and Bangladesh. Hardeep Singh Nijjar and Bangladesh. I've covered this a lot. So these are the two areas, Canada and Bangladesh, which we need to resolve. But in Canada, the good thing is that Justin Trudeau, who is anti-India stand, he is gone. And the Donald Trump was also not in favor of him. Donald Trump used to call him governor of Canada and asking Canada should become the 51st state of America. So he's gone. So global challenges would be there in conflicts, climate change, economic uncertainties. But the ending of these two wars should be a positive sign. Government successfully balanced strategic autonomy with global partnerships, multi-aligned approach with different countries, not only towards Russia, talking to Ukraine, talking to Americans, going to G7, going to Middle East, going to South American countries, going to Caribbean nation, attending the G20 summit in Rio, G7 summit. So multiple participation happened. So India, I have told that India today talks about India's growth. Okay. So India vision, inclusivity, sustainable development, and today India reinforced Vishwa Bandhu, that we are a global friend. We are a friend of everyone who believes in order based, who believes in democracy, and who believes in open rights for everyone, legitimate open rights. So India positioned itself as a rising global power in unpredictable world over. There is no doubt about it. World over, everyone is talking about India. So this is what we have done in 2025, 2024, and a lot of things are expected in 2025. Some of those things which I have covered in the first news related to Donald Trump. I hope this article was very helpful to you. So evaluate the effectiveness of India's foreign policy steps taken last year in balancing strategic autonomy with global partnership. So you can go through it. I've added certain pointers for you which will help you. In the extra mile, you can go through the news. How is TRAI and the government combating spam? Insights IAS 2.0. This is done by Sapna ma'am. On our channel, you can also go through that. So thank you very much. I hope that you did learn a lot about today, and please share your comments. Do like the session also, and most importantly, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll meet up tomorrow at 10 a.m. again. Thank you very much. Take care. Jai Hind.